Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is episode 192 of the Audible Farm Podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. Couchtown Coffee is roasted right here in Iowa. It's my favorite coffee. You can go to couchtowncoffee.com, find whatever coffees they've got available, let them know how you want it roasted, and they'll ship it directly to your house. You don't have to go anywhere to get some of the best coffee you've ever had. I mean, that's definitely what I think. I drink it every morning. If you guys listen to this weekly, you realize I ran out maybe a week or two ago. Rough stuff. So don't let yourself run out. Go to couchtowncoffee.com, find a coffee you like, make an order, and when you do, let them know Audible Farm sent you, and they'll give you 20% off. Why? Because Couchtown Coffee's that awesome. Thanks, Couchtown. This week, I'm sitting down with the incomparable Nick Ehrhardt. Nick's one of my favorite people out there in the music scene. When I first started playing shows in north central Iowa, he was kind of my conduit into what was going on. I knew him pretty well from, well, I guess I've known him for quite a while. I've known him since I was, in grade school, actually, believe it or not. But when I first started playing shows in Fort Dodge, going to jam nights, kind of trying to meet everyone, launching this podcast, he was the guy that kind of steered me in the direction of where to go, who to talk to, those kind of things. So I'm pretty much forever indebted to him. He's been one of those people that's just been such a good guy to me and everyone for that matter. I've always known him as just a fun-loving guy, and a heck of a bass player. I love watching him go out there and play with Riddled With Class. We talk about that in this upcoming episode. This episode, I'm pretty guilty of just derailing this thing from the get-go, but it's pretty hilarious. We talk about literally anything and everything that comes up. I sidetrack him with all sorts of crazy questions when he's halfway done answering other questions. But we do talk about Riddled With Class's shows they've done this year. It's ramping up, as it always does around the summertime for Riddled With Class. We talk about playing acoustic shows, fill-in members, all sorts of good stuff. Like I said, Nick's one of my favorite guys. We have some pretty good laughs in this episode. So hats off to him for just being who he is and going out there and rocking it. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I absolutely love sitting down talking with Nick. So here we go. It's episode 192 with Nick Ehrhardt from Riddled With Class.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
Today I'm sitting down with Nick Ehrhardt. Nick, you have been on the podcast before. You are the bassist in Riddled With Class. There was actually one show, I don't know if you've been on since this, but you did play bass with Jesse Wilson at one show.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. I had a good time. I was a little nervous at first, but then just kind of figure out where you fill in and stuff. And yeah, that was, and then Clint too, actually. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was a good night.
Yeah, it was a weird show. I mean, it was a good show, but it was Clint and Jesse split a show, and then you and I were there, and we just kind of played along with both of them here and there.
Yep, and let them do their own things at times too. Yep.
It was kind of nice because we all just kind of got to do whatever we wanted. We all got plenty of break time, and nobody ever got worn out or anything. So
I got plenty of Crown Royal that night too, actually. So.
Oh yeah, it's a good time though. I mean, that's one of those things about going to jam nights, kind of being part of the scene. People just kind of realize you're out there, and if you want to fill in for a show, sometimes they hit you up, which was, the occasion that happened recently when you guys were down a member at a show and you had hit me up. Unfortunately, I was booked, but
and honestly, that was Levi was like, "You ever think about hitting up Pete?" He's like, "I think it'd be great sometime, like when one of the guys can't make it, if Pete played with us." And I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah, man!" So yeah, it didn't work out that night, but I'm sure there'll be an opportunity at some point.
Yeah, the fun part about that is a lot of those songs that you guys play are right in my wheelhouse. It's what I grew up playing, and
that's kind of the idea behind the whole Riddled thing, I guess. Actually, there's probably be some stumpers in there and stuff, but yeah, I know the times you've been at the shows, you always talked about the familiarity with it, and
yeah. I mean, I think we described it once as if you're between the ages of 25, 30-ish to about 50-ish, this is right in your wheelhouse with music.
You probably drank beer and listened to these songs at some point.
Yeah.
And if you're 38-ish, maybe you drank those beers illegally. So
gotta get a calendar out and do the counting on that one.
The whole idea of it, though, is just fun. You know, I mean, like, there's a lot of cover bands that kind of, and I'm not knocking them, they play the classic rock stuff, like, to perfection. And when it all started, we didn't want to compete with that. So it was like, let's play some stuff we think is cool. And then, you know, member changes over the years, and we get different ideas of what everybody thinks is cool. And it's crazy to me, like, how well it's caught on. I guess the last few years, we got... Before the pandemic put us back a little bit, you know, and then everybody's wife magically got pregnant during the pandemic, which is kind of hilarious how that works. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was probably one of the funniest shortages that was out there was the condom shortage.
Yeah.
Like during the pandemic, it's like, oh no, this isn't good.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, they're all of the guys in the band are very responsible. We're all married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all are married.
Yep. I can tell you that, well, there's all those jokes about backstage. First off, we're not the lightest or most fit band in the country or in the area either. But there's never a backstage for anybody that knows. But if there was, Riddled would probably be, you'd hear a bunch of dick and fart jokes by guys that are way too old to be telling dick and fart jokes. And that's the debauchery that happens there. So
it's so funny. It reminds me of, I was at a gas station recently and somebody said, what have you been up to? I was like, I'm working, playing music and stuff. And said, you're still playing music? I was like, yeah. And they're like, how old are you? I was like, 35. And they're like, huh. And I was like, yeah, I guess I should probably know better by now, but you know, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, screw me for having fun, right? You know, like, what are you doing? And, I just kind of drink beer at the bar on Friday night, and then
that's true. Yeah,
do yard work on Saturday. Like,
I do understand like how to some extent some people might view it as sophomoric to just be like, yeah, I'm in a band still or whatever. But dude, it's tons of fun to go out there and play to people, especially like when you're playing your kind of music. I feel like you would have a lot of people that are similar age group to you instead of like, if I go out there and play classic rock, it's going to be people that are 20 plus years my senior that are just like, woohoo!
But they all know, everybody knows that stuff too. That is
true.
Like
Jack and Diane and your Tom Petty's and whatever.
I don't even care what it is. Like, I just like going to see live music. And so like, if we can be like a departure from what you normally see at that, awesome. You know, that's probably the funnest part. Or, you know, and then you've played in bands. Every show you got the one guy who's like way faded, you know, and then you guys are just awesome, you know, and then he just follows you around like while you're rolling up cables, and you're like, no man, thank you, you know, like check us out on Facebook, we're gonna be at this place next, you want to buy a t-shirt, you know, or and no, you guys are just awesome, I do every word to every song, like, that's kind of the idea, man, you know.
Thank you, I didn't write any of them.
I'll be sure to pass it on to the guys and Blink 182 and the Foo Fighters for you, you know, like. Also, don't tell them that we're doing their stuff because we probably owe them some money.
That's another weird thing about like the cover band thing is like if you play at places, supposedly they're supposed to pay their like ASCAP and BMI and stuff. So like, which is like kind of weird. I don't know if you guys have ever run into any issues with that, but
there were bars, and then it goes away and it comes back, and it like. So my question about all that is, how do you know if they're legit? Like, how do you know that the people that are saying you owe us this much money because you had cover bands in your bar are really with these corporations? And also, why are they shaking down small town bars? You know, I mean,
exactly. Yeah, shake down a small town bar. Yeah, I totally get it too. But like, you bring up a really good point. Two rando dudes in suits show up and say like, pay us money. It's like, what the hell are you talking about, you know?
And it seems like sometimes it's like you owe us $5,000, and sometimes you give them $75 and they leave you alone. You know, like,
it's so wild.
It's a racket if you ask me. Well, and then so years ago, I'm not a fan or anything, but I saw the Zac Brown band in concert with a girl I was seeing at the time. And they covered Killing in the Name Of by Rage Against the Machine, which was pretty wild and unexpected. Well, I don't really know anything about Zac Brown band, but they put on a good show. They were great. But so does like Zac Brown got to like give $50 to Zach De La Rocha then, you know, or like Tom Morello's like, you owe me 38 cents, man.
They
you
just
know,
Venmo each other back and forth.
Yeah. So like, I haven't heard much about. I feel like I should knock on some wood. That's metal, but
but I mean, I get it's like a weird concept. I understand like where some people might not like it, but like for those that don't like understand what's going on, basically, if you play a cover song in a venue, the venue has to pay a fee to whoever has the rights to that song, and they do it in a fashion where they just pool all this money together and divvy it out how they see fit, and it's like. I really don't understand how ASCAP and BMI can figure out who's playing what and divvy it out correctly.
Yeah.
You know,
do you need my set list at the end of the night? And then one of the songs on our set list is Drive. And there's like, I don't know how many songs called Drive. You know, like I know the Cars do one and I know Incubus does one. And we do the Incubus one, you know, But
it makes me think, like, how do they know? Like, are they just giving all their money to, like, Post Malone and Ed Sheeran? And then just being like, this is probably what's going on out there. You know, it's
the most popular ones. Like, you got Leonard Skinner and Ed Sheeran, Post Malone, and, like, one other dude just getting, like, filthy rich off, like, shaking down bars in Iowa.
They probably played Last Dance with Mary Jane, so Tom Petty's getting a cut of this. You know, so I wonder how they sit down and they figure all that stuff out, which is kind of a weird thing to think of. And, you know, like a weird concept to fight. And I actually, like, I do recall there was one venue that was in Des Moines that just, like, wouldn't allow covers for that reason, which was kind of fun because it was, like, all original music all the time. But, you know. At the same time, that can lead itself to be open up to so much interpretation where it gets a little wild at times too.
Yep. And then so like, yeah, you know, like everybody knows every damn band I've ever been in my life played Last Dance with Mary Jane, which is one reason why I go the rest of my life without it. Also, when I play it, it's the same chord progression as Danny California by the Chili Peppers. So I like to do the Danny California like bass riff to it. It works until the chorus. But like, what if you're doing like some obscure Toady song from the 90s? Like, do they have like Shazam there, you know? And they're like, oh shit!
That's what all those live jukeboxes are that are connected to the internet. Yep. Just constantly streaming it into.
We found out how to keep them out of your bar. You got to get rid of that jukebox.
No, it's pretty funny. I don't know though. Like,
what if we did a Three Finger Betty cover? You know,
I'll sue the shit out of you.
Yeah. But I mean, like, is somebody gonna be like, hey, Pete? Here's $3. Like some fat fucks or some fat dudes in a bar in Eagle Grove played your song tonight. You know, like I mean,
I would freaking love it if somebody would cover a Three Finger Betty song.
And like that to me, like because there were songs, not as much anymore because of where we're playing that like people didn't know them really. You know, and like the Toadies are one of my favorite bands, and everybody knows Possum Kingdom by the Toadies. If you're listening to this right now and you say, I don't know Possum Kingdom by the Toadies, you do. It's just they never say the words possum or kingdom in the whole song. And I'm not going to sing it for you because nobody wants that. But like we used to do Tyler. I think we did one other Toady song at one point. And like people didn't know it. And so somebody was like, I like that song. But I mean, even with that, like I saw Jeremy Ober I worked sound for Jeremy over at Clarion one time and Brutal Republic, and those guys are killer. But they did a song called Cortez the Killer, and I don't know a whole lot of Neil Young. Like I knew like Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, Everybody Knows Heart of Gold, and like some of that stuff, but like I didn't know it. And so like the next time I saw Jeremy was actually at a friend's wedding. I was like, dude, that song you guys have, like and I kind of hummed along to it because I don't sing in front of people because it's awful. But he's like, yeah, I really wish I could take credit for that, but that's a Neil Young song. I'm like, oh, that explains it's pretty damn good, you know. And so that's where I wonder, like, the legitimacy of it. Like, I mean, if somebody looks us up on Facebook, they know we're a cover band, you know? And so, like, I get it. Like, that, they saw Riddled played at, you know, Stan's Bar in BFE, you know? And then they're like, oh, okay, well, you had them. And I actually looked into getting us licensed, but it doesn't matter if we are or not.
Yeah.
Which also makes no sense.
It's so weird because it puts the onus on the bar or the venue that hires you. But the gist is the venue is the one now that's taking responsibility for selling what is your music to people.
Do you think it's because they know we don't have any money? Like,
well, they're going to get it from somebody. Yeah. They're going to get it from somebody.
Yeah, this guy's selling cheeseburgers. He's got way more money than these broke-ass musicians.
Yeah.
That guy spent his last $8 getting his Stratocaster out of the Hawk shop,
Yeah, no kidding.
And that to me, I don't know. It's crazy how all that works. I haven't heard much about it lately, and I hope it kind of stays that way. But
yeah, and I the gist of it all. I understand. So if I made music and somebody else is utilizing it in some capacity, I kind of want to get paid for it. And to an extent, if somebody else was playing my music and getting paid for it somehow or another, I kind of would want to get paid for that too. But it comes back to, like you said, how do you know who's making sure that the money's getting to the places where it technically actually should be going?
Yeah.
Just like with Spotify and all these streaming services.
Well, I saw it might have been a meme and it might have been total horseshit, but it was talking about how you stream their songs, and sometimes you'll see stream this song on repeat, play it 3 times in a row, blah. And then there was a thing, and it's one T-shirt equals 50,000 Spotify streams as far as profit goes, and it's and every band that I go see, I'm terrible. I'm I want a T-shirt, and so I have more band I'm actually not wearing one now, but
it is a band shirt though.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's a little bit of a throwback to the old Blink time, But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
for those not watching, he's wearing an Atticus shirt.
Yeah, 1999, eat your heart out. Back when I don't know if you were probably too young, but loserkids.com. Are you familiar with that? So Blink had a web store, and it was called loserkids.com, and they sold Hurley and Atticus and Macbeth clothes and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. I think I gave my grandma some money to order me some stuff off of it on her credit card because I was 17.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I love those days. Back with the magazine days where you'd get the catalogs, you'd order stuff.
And then you had to wait 3 years, and then you're I'm not even into this shit anymore. You're 18 and the Micro Machine set you ordered in 1990 show up, and you're sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome. But that is something else that's really funny though, to think of those old school websites that used to exist, because nowadays it's pretty much I got on, who gets on a website first and foremost, and secondly, if you don't know what you're looking for, you just go to Google, type in a keyword, and click on the first thing.
Yep.
Otherwise it's just Facebook or YouTube.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and even online shopping, I'm oh, they got an app, cool, and then you can just put the stuff you want in your thing. Half the time, the scary thing, your phone remembers your credit card, and they're do you want to use the one that ends in 777? Yep. And
yes,
then,
please.
Yep. And then you show it, you're I don't even remember ordering that.
Yeah.
Cool.
That blind ordering of things. But yeah, back in the day, there used to be a zillion websites, and that's a thing where I almost wish bands, all bands would have their own websites, which is kind of funny because I'm in a band that doesn't have a website.
We have one. I'm kind of in charge of that, and I don't remember the last time I edited it. It has been some time.
Well, we're gonna pull it up right now.
Oh boy, I've been slipping on my pimping when it comes to that. I set it all up one night. Hopefully, there's not pictures of dudes that aren't in the band anymore. Oh, look, that's
oh, hey, there you guys. You're all there.
Yeah, May 23rd. From. Oh yeah, that was probably from 2020. The last time I was on there because it got canceled because of COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. So yeah, you guys actually do have a website, riddledwithclass.wixsite.com. So I'll put a link to that down below.
One of these days, maybe I will go through and modernize it a little bit. We've changed the logo even since then.
Yeah,
kinda.
I mean, if anybody goes to the Facebook page, you can definitely see that awesome logo. I'm a big fan of these. I know some people are like, well, you're just ripping off one logo and derp, but you know what? It's
Exactly.
this pulls in a lot of nostalgia. You don't even have to know what the show is, because people that will just literally see this logo and they'll be like, I know what this is 90s all the way. Like, they don't have to know. And it's not even really that closely based on Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, no, it was definitely inspired. My wife actually like made that background out of, I don't know. She spent some time on it, and then I spent a little time finishing it up. And like, yeah, I don't know. The Saved by the Bell thing kind of for me struck a chord because like we do a lot of 90s stuff, and obviously Saved by the Bell was a 90s show. But even like the stuff that comes later, like Saved by the Bell was huge when we were kids, you know? And, like, I think it might even have started in the, I don't know, in the 80s or something. But, like, even the stuff that comes after is still kind of all inspired by, like, those ideas. You know, we do a lot of, like, alternative, like, and then pop punk, and then, like, even some emo stuff, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you might hear a Nirvana song depending on, we haven't played any for a little while. But you also might hear like a Taking Back Sunday song or, you know, Franz Ferdinand. And then obviously the Blink and the Foo Fighters are kind of the two that seem to pop up all the time, you know. But all of it, I don't know. I just thought it was a good fit for the band. And then updated a little bit from the, you know, the stolen Maserati crown that was in the logo before that. And yeah, I don't know. It was fun.
Yeah. And I mean, I used the NWO logo for like a logo. And I've like got another one in the works that's just going to rip off another one. But I think it's fun for like limited pressings or for like a season of like your logo. Like this will be the logo for a while, but it's going to go back to the OG logo, or we're going to have a different one come out sooner or later or whatever, you know. But,
well, and I think this one we'll probably stick with for a little bit, but like t-shirt wise. So like if you see that, and then there's pictures of the t-shirts we're selling right now, and I'm getting more in right now. Actually, I think we use the same guy for t-shirts. So Harpo, yeah.
Dude, Harpo's
is it still corrosive?
I'm pretty sure it's still corrosive screen printing.
Yep, because I know like he kind of dabbles in a few different things, you know. But
Harpo's all over the map. Yeah, in bands.
Yep,
I'm pretty sure Harpo has a job too, like an actual job.
I think so. I know I think he used to work at Guitar Center like way back when too.
I think he like buys and sells and trades stuff at like maybe like toys or something like that, or video games or something.
Oh,
at
sure.
Those like events too. So he's all over the map.
But he does a great job, and he printed up some, and it's the logo, and then it's set on like a black T-shirt, and it turned out super cool. But the idea now is, and actually we kicked around the NWO logo at one point too, and I was like, shit, Pete beat us to it, you know. And like I have one kind of funny idea that I think I want to do for a t-shirt, but I'm not going to say it on here in case I do it.
Yeah, save that one. Save it.
It was actually Greg's idea, and then I just kind of expanded on it because I want something like dumb and really funny, but you know, like, and if you come see us, like, some of the stuff that happens is going to be dumb and really funny. Like that's something Levi and I, we did an acoustic show a couple weeks ago, and looking back on it, I think it was mostly just us talking crap to each other and then playing songs in between. And it was pretty fun. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of playing acoustic shows really, but just our kind of music, it's weird, sort of, you know.
I recall watching you guys play an acoustic show at River Hops in Fort Dodge one
time. Yep, with Jeremy, yeah, and that was out of necessity too. That actually, that was a full band acoustic one, and it's weird because I got some of those videos, and they actually turned out kind of neat. Like it was just different, you know, and stuff. So yeah, that, and then there was so that kind of ties into, there's an idea that we floated around, and I don't know, I mean, maybe we'll get back to it at some point, but we were going to do like a video, which was just going to be like us playing like, I don't know, 5-10 songs that we would never play in a bar, you know, like, and I still would like to do that, like just prettier songs, or, you know, maybe a little more somber stuff, you know, that like we all were into, because the age range, I think Jake's like 6 or 7 years younger than me, And then you got me and Greg I think is 35. I think
Okay.
I don't know how old anybody is anymore.
Yeah, I don't know where
I got white hairs in my beard now. That's all I know. But
I'll just do the rest of the podcast
yeah,
like this. Then.
it's like there's like probably a 6-7 year age range in us. So all of those songs were like we all at least knew them. Like I sort of feel like when emo, which is something we do some of that stuff. I mean, emo and pop punk are really about that far apart.
Yeah, they're pretty close. One yells a little bit.
Yeah, yep. And when that started
or breathes a little bit more.
yeah,
than sings.
maybe, yeah, they both are kind of whiny actually.
Yeah,
But
very much so. Very much so.
When that started, for some reason, that's when I hit like I was like into like heavier stuff there for a little while, and even some of that like, and when I won't even publicly say what I thought was heavy back then, because I got in Levi's truck one time and I was like, "What the hell are you listening to, dude?" There's and I don't know anything about that, but I don't know where I was going with all this, to be honest.
I don't remember.
It just yeah, like so we take songs though that maybe aren't really fit for a bar, you know, and play that like just live.
That would be tons of fun. So like, it kind of reminds me. I mean, it's right in the wheelhouse of this. You remember when they had like Punk Goes Metal or Punk Goes Country or whatever, and they would take like songs and just recreate them with more of a punk flair.
Yep.
Kind of like that, you know?
Yep.
Riddled With Class Goes Country or whatever.
Yeah.
You guys pop out a couple country songs.
I don't know that I could ever,
something.
like, the two Merritts they are done with country, like, but yeah, like, more of like I know one of the ones that I kind of kicked around was Motorcycle Drive-By by Third Eye Blind, which is a super cool song. There are a ton of words though, like, and sometimes we're not great with lots of words and songs, but
yeah, I feel that.
just a little more like somber. But yeah, actually, if you could punkify like a country song, that would I've seen it actually a little bit. There's a dude on YouTube that I absolutely love. His name's Alex Melton, and he does like different versions of songs. So he'll do if Blink-182 wrote Wonderwall. And he'll play it kind of like Blink would play Wonderwall, you know, but then he also did all these things where they were like country versions. Like there was a country version of Duality by Slipknot on there. And it was weird, but it's just some of it like makes you laugh, and some of it you're like, okay. And they took a song by Blink. He's very influenced by Blink too, but took a song by Blink called Always, which was like on I think it was on the self-titled album that some people love, some people hate, and he just like slowed it down and made it acoustic, and it's beautiful. Like it's weird because when I think of Blink, I don't really think of like pretty, beautiful
it's not
songs.
Beautiful songs. Yeah,
no, but I don't know. There's tons of those kinds of people on YouTube. You know that it's just. But I for some reason like I heard one of his things and I'm like, I'm gonna look this dude up, and then all of a sudden I think I'm following him on TikTok, which that's a fairly new development for me, TikTok. But
I'm trying my best to steer clear.
It's awesome. And yeah,
I hear that from everyone.
Because there's stupid stuff that you can't stand on there, and then there's ones like where the half naked girl like push this button and it'd probably take you to some porn site or something. You know?
Oh yeah, some fishing nonsense.
Yep, and I don't get that. I watch a lot of dog videos on TikTok. A lot of people. I'm very much a dog person. For the most part, I think I like dogs more than people at this point in my life. But
yeah, I can see how.
Like,
I can see how you could definitely rationalize that concept.
They're easier to read because usually they're like, "What's up?" and they're all happy and they're like, "Just scratch my head for a second." And if you walk by him and he growls at it, like, oh, okay, that dude doesn't like me. I'll just keep going, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know. Dogs are awesome.
Pretty upfront about everything.
Dog videos and then, like, just, like, stupid, funny stuff. And
yeah. I mean, I get sucked into the reels on Facebook same way.
It's the same kind of idea.
It's the same thing. So I try my best to steer clear of those. Like, I give myself watch the first one because you clicked on it. And if the next one, if it sucks, just quit. Just don't scroll anymore. But yeah, I've heard from even like Mike Schulte from the Pork Tornadoes was just like the algorithm on TikTok is like absolutely next level to the point where it will pick you stuff that you want to see and you didn't know you wanted to see it.
And the Pork Tornadoes TikTok is awesome. I've watched it. They do a lot of like dicking around with like changing words to songs of covers and stuff. No, it's incredibly entertaining. They're doing it. They're killing it on there.
Mike Schulte is like, I don't care what anybody says about anything that's going on in Iowa at all. I think he's the best at social media in Iowa. Like, the dude has the ability to like literally go viral from an organic standpoint.
And they market themselves so well, but then when you go see them, they don't disappoint. You know,
that's my favorite part.
Yeah, they're absolutely good. Yeah, they have really cool, neat lights. They have all kind. They have the whole big show thing. Like it's not catching somebody in a bar somewhere, you know, like it's an event, you know.
It is an event. It is
but
like
they don't disappoint at all.
Dude, the Pork Tornadoes could play all songs I hate and I would still be like, these guys kill it.
Yep.
And there's some people out there that like, I remember going to like Pork Tornadoes shows and they'd just be like, yeah, I just didn't dig it. It's like, the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
They played like Gangster's Paradise, like all the way to
Do
Lady
you not
Gaga.
like fun, you fun-hating son of a bitch?
You were the one person here not having
like,
fun.
You're the dude in the corner, like, just, and everybody's over there, like, having a blast, you know?
I saw you drink 40 beers and do 20 cartwheels. Like, I know you were having fun. And they're like, no, I wasn't.
Everybody knows you had a good time, Frank the Tank, you know?
It's so funny, though. I, like, love that, how that's, like, a thing, too, where some people just be like, yeah, I don't like these guys. Like, how could you not like these guys, you know?
I saw a thing once where it's like, that's the most sincere form of flattery, though, if you're a musician, is if other musicians hate you, you know? And I don't experience that with anyone. I don't have that feeling towards anyone, but, like, it is funny. There are people out there that are like that, you know, where they just can't like you because they think it takes away from them. You know, like, hey, you know what? We can both not suck. It's awesome. Yeah. You know, like.
And that's one of my favorite parts about the Pork Tornadoes is it's like, how are you going to tell me that these guys play like 30 shows across Iowa in the course of a summer to like 15,000 people at every single show, and they bring up a local band to open for them? Like, how can you tell me that that's not cool? Like,
not only do they come to your town and absolutely kill it, they will pull somebody from that area to play with them and give them a chance to play in front of 10,000 people, you know?
It's gnarly.
No, they're absolutely awesome. But yeah, and like, yeah, it is a lot of fun, and I mean that's even inspired us to do what they do has inspired us to do some of the weird stuff we do. You know, like I mean, you know the cover that you wouldn't expect from us, you know, and stuff like I watched a thing where like I think I saw a thing of the Pork Tornadoes where they were playing. I think it was at Woolies, and the fire alarms went out.
I think that's right.
And then they were they concocted a way to make that go along with like a Maroon 5 song or something, you know, like, yeah, those guys are horrible, you know.
What a terrible time that must have been. I bet everyone was not, you know, just like, are you kidding me? Yeah,
because you know, all crappy bands would incorporate like the most annoying sound that they could to keep their show going, you know, and make sure everybody's still having fun. That's the sincere sign of a band that really sucks, you know.
Yeah. We're being super facetious here for those that can't tell.
Yeah, there's the video there. No, that's awesome. I remember years ago we were playing somewhere and we had a killer crowd that night and the mics dropped out. Like, I think all the PA dropped out, and then the crowd was just singing the song at us, and I was like, it doesn't get cooler. We might as well just stop now, you know, because that's awesome. We kept going because I think it was just mics, but like that's awesome if you can just truck, you know, or take an unfortunate thing and make something really cool out of it, and we didn't. They did for us, but yeah. But it was a cool moment.
Exactly. You know, and those are the kind of things where, like, growing up, I was always like, well, you got to be so delusionally optimistic about everything. But, like, if you could have, like, a little bit of optimism and not just be like, this just sucks because something bad turn it into something good. Something, you know, like, the good part about this was this, you know.
Yeah, that sound guy messed up, and now our mics, and we didn't absolutely murder that Weezer song for 8 seconds, you know? And, like, but, yeah, just cool moments like that. Like, and I thought that was super cool. Like, they took something that was unfortunate and made it like made the best out of it and absolutely killed it and made it fun for everyone. You know, like, yeah, no, those guys are awesome. But
yeah, well, let's talk about your guys' like upcoming shows and stuff. Now that we're done jerking everyone else's chin,
all local bands, we love you.
so like Riddled, you guys have actually had like it's fun to see you guys like you slow down in the wintertime and you ramp up in the summertime. It always seems to happen like that. So your shows are ramping up again here.
Yep, we've been around a little bit. We were in Carroll. Is this Thursday that this?
Yeah.
So the previous week we were in Carroll. We're off the weekend of this coming out, but then June 24th, we're gonna be at Amigos in Fort Dodge. We played there like years and years ago, and I think it might have been for a fundraiser. But I'm really excited. Local, you know, we've been out at the winery a few times. It's fun to play locally, you know, and you get, you know, the crowd of people you work with and like friends and family from the area. You know, Amigos is a cool place. And then the weekend after that, we're in Battle Creek, Iowa. We're playing with two bands. We're the first band. I think we go on at like 5:30 is what I understand. But it's for their fire department, their fundraiser. That's what we did at Donkey Days, is a fundraiser for the fire department too.
Cool.
In Renwick. But we're playing with a band we played with last year there called Over the Border. And some guys, local guys, and I think they're going to come up and play for an hour in between us and then Arch Allies, which is a 80s tribute act. And the week after that, we're in Audible, Iowa. And then...
God, I don't know how you can remember all this stuff.
I should have them on Facebook, but I've been slipping a little bit.
Well, hopefully they'll be up by the time this episode comes out on Thursday.
Yep. I'll probably. And then down the road, we got a couple other cool ones. We're doing Badger Fest this year.
Sweet.
So I grew up north of Badger out in the country.
Huh, I guess I didn't know that.
Like if I was 16 years old and you would tell me that my band's gonna get to play Donkey Days in Renwick and Badger Fest in the same year, I'd be like, oh, I'm losing my mind.
Oh, it's so cool.
But yeah, I'm excited. It's fun to be back out playing. This summer we picked up a little more than we had previously. We're gonna be back at Rails over in Eagle Grove again, I believe at the end of July 30th. So yeah, I mean, last year, you know, we're still kind of bouncing back from pandemic stuff. Greg and his wife had a little boy last year, and then Levi and his wife had a little girl, actually, the day we were supposed to play for the City of Ankeny. So I was like in Story City, and Levi called me, and he's like, hey, good news and bad news, man. The good news is we're going to have a baby. The bad news is I'm not going to be at the show because it's happening right now, you know? So we kind of, you know, try to respect that. Like, you know, we're all in our 30s and stuff, and Jake and his wife are actually expecting now. So I think towards the end of October. So summer will be a little busy, and fall will probably slow it down again a little bit. So, yeah.
You did bring up a good point earlier I kind of wanted to touch on. So, like, it just made me think when you said that you play locally and then, like, you know, people you work with or people you interact with, like, come to your shows. Like, this is something that you and I don't necessarily get to do because we're musicians or whatever. But, like, if you don't play music and you, like, work with somebody that plays music, I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, would I be open-minded enough to be like, yeah, I'll go check out, you know, Steve's band or whatever, you know, like.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of.
There are people, like, so, I mean, I think everybody knows from me being on here what I do for a living, but I'm a sales manager at Fort Dodge Ford Toyota. And there are people there that if they showed up to one of my shows, I'd be like, whoa, what? I didn't think that would happen. And then there's ones that, you know, they've come out, and there's a lot of younger people and stuff, and it's cool to see them have a good time because a lot of the songs, you know, they might not know and stuff, and yeah, it is. I'm one of those people that, like, if I worked with somebody and I heard they had a band, like, I'm going to see them, you know, like, when do you play next? And there's some of those, and then there's some that, like, yeah, I'd be very surprised if they ever showed up, you know, but.
Well, that's kind of cool. I mean, like, you definitely are the kind of guy that would like to be social like that, you know, and I don't know if I don't know if it's just because I play music that I'm so open to it. Because I remember, like, before I played music out places, like, I was just like, well, if you're not playing Iron Maiden, your band sucks. You know, like, it's like, not everybody wants to listen to Iron Maiden, man. You know, so you figure it out after a while and yada, yada, yada. But, you know, like, my mind is a little bit more open now and things like that. So I definitely go to, like, any show I can kind of grab onto. But
that's kind of my thought on it all. Like, I'm not a huge, like, country music fan. But I have friends that play, like, country music. So, like, I'm going to go check them out, you know? And, like, the more I've thought about some of that stuff as time's gone on, when I'm in my car, I'm not going to turn it to 96.9 and listen to that, you know?
Absolutely not. Sorry, but no.
Like, honestly, I think if I would have, like, accidentally stumbled into I don't even know, Blake Shelton concert, I'd probably have a good time. I mean, you know, and then when you know the people and it's different, but like live music it's just different than sitting in your car listening to 96.9,
oh,
you know?
Very much so. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you did pull up on a hog earlier today, but do you listen to much music like when you're driving around?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's funny because a lot of the musicians I know don't. In the mornings, I listen to a news podcast, usually on my way to work.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. That's my age, getting older. And then I'll go through, like, kicks. And, like, it's weird because, like, we play a lot of songs that are, like, some of my favorite songs. Mm-hmm. And if they come on, like, I'll just stream music in my car, you know? And if they come on and I'm in my car, like, my wife loves the same music, you know, and stuff. I'll always skip it, and she'll get mad at me. Like, no, I heard that song, you know, 30 times last year.
Yeah, heard it and played it.
But I'll go through, like, kicks where I get into, like, bands, and then all of a sudden I'm, like, deep into it. Like, I had one with a band, and I think they're out of, like, Colorado now, but they were originally from, like, Baltimore. And it was called The Dangerous Summer. And then, like, so I heard a few of their songs. I'm like, I really like this, you know? And then, like, I listened to their whole first album. Like, that's all I listened to, and I would, like, stop it when I go to work. I've listened to your podcast in my car, too, on the way to places. But I usually don't listen to the ones that I'm on. I don't know.
Same here.
Yeah.
I don't listen to any of mine. Yeah. I don't even listen to them to edit them anymore. I'm just kidding, no.
But, yeah, it's well, and I've known a lot of the people, and then some of them, it's just, I'm like, this is pretty interesting, you know? And
there's a few of them that are surprising. Like, I used to try and pull all the information out of people and just soak it out of them, but you know, some of them are really good. Everyone with Mike Schulte's always been fun, though.
Yep. I've listened to his stuff, and see, I didn't know him. I knew the Pork Tornadoes because I'd seen him, you know, probably like Okoboji or something a couple of times.
Yep.
But, but yeah, no, I don't know. Yes and no, maybe. Like, there's other times where I just drive home in utter silence, and that's probably kind of creepy, actually. But
well, I bet a lot of your job is like verbally communicating with people. It is, you know. So like, I didn't really think about it too much. We're like, I'm lucky. I mean, like, I got a headset and stuff, but you know, 95% of my job is not on a headset. So like, I just sit at a computer, but I have to like Skype with people and like, you know, email and message, and just like it's just a lot of stuff to constantly do. So when it finally comes down to people like send you a Facebook message, and it's just like, I'll get to it in 2 weeks. Sorry, like I don't want to communicate with anyone anymore this way.
And that's probably been different for me too, because I don't know. My wife would probably tell you I talked to her more before I did this, just because like sometimes I just come home and like people have talked to me all day, you know, but. I don't know. I like it though. I guess I'm a pretty social person. Like I pretty much like everybody though. You know, I don't know, but
I mean, you were pretty much the person that got me introduced to a lot of people in the Fort Dodge music scene. Honestly, because of you being active down there and just being social with everyone.
Yeah, I made some of the coolest people I've ever met in my life are musicians. So you know, like, and looking back on it, and then like. to have the friends that I've had. So like I told the story about Levi, like having the baby. Well, we were like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? Like we were supposed to play for him the year before. COVID wrecked that. And then now we're down there, and obviously I can't, hey, tell Brittany to hold on for a little bit. You got a show to play,
And you can't just walk up and be like, our singer had a baby, so we're just going to go home.
Yep. And Greg does some singing, but then Greg's like, so I called Scotty Rockstar.
Heck yeah.
Scotty Rockstar dropped whatever he was doing, jumped in a car, and hauled ass to Ankeny from Fort Dodge to sing a bunch of songs that he doesn't normally sing,
Yep.
And then, we had some illness in the band, and I called you, and you were busy, and then
didn't you do a 2-piece show not terribly long ago?
Yeah, we did a 2-piece the Friday night in Rockwell City at the AmVets there.
I actually heard something really cool. As weird as it sounds, I talk you up in the Fort Dodge music scene, but I play in like weird dive bars where people like haven't heard of Riddled With Class because you play in like I would say bigger bars.
I don't know.
Well,
about that.
But you guys haven't played at Bootleggers or whatever.
No, we haven't ever been there.
So
yet.
it's one of those things where not everybody knows you, but I kind of recommend you to people. And somebody went over to that Rockwell City show and they were like, are they usually 2 people? I'm like, no, there's usually a whole band. And they're like, holy shit, I bet their band is good because this is good with just 2 people.
And it was the worst too.
It's the funniest thing too because it's like people are just like, this is killer, and it's just 2 people. I'm like, that's actually kind of a freaking great compliment.
We were playing, and so it was a weird night. We had a comedian and then a comedian magician, and it was a benefit for a lady there from Rockwell City who needed a wheelchair van, and so we're like, yeah, we're happy to help out.
Mm-hmm.
And then shit fell apart because people got sick. Greg and Jake both got sick that week. And then so it ends up being me and Levi, and we're watching this comedian, and he was good. And then there's this comedian magician, and I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And that dude was awesome. And so we're playing, and we were having fun, and we ventured off our beaten path. We actually did a country song that night. I don't remember what it's called or anything. But Levi and I have played acoustic together like twice before.
Mm-hmm.
And some guy goes, you guys are good. You probably don't need the other 2 guys. Levi's like, shut up. We are the worst 2.
Don't tell them that.
Yeah.
They didn't know any better.
But no, and then the next night, they were both still sick. And so I called up Topher, Chris Anderson, Friday morning. Actually, my wife had to because I was busy. And he's like, yep, I'll do it. So then he shows up the next night, plays for 3 hours with us.
Plays
kills it.
Drums?
Drummer, yep.
Nice.
And killed it. And I don't know. That's what's cool about the Fort Dodge music scene is not only are there tons of very talented people, but they're usually pretty damn down to earth and cool.
Mm-hmm.
The drummer thing is probably the scariest thing. Also, I think maybe a drummer, I sort of feel like there might be a little more work for a guitar player. It would be impossible for a singer to just be show up and yeah, I'll do 4 hours of songs with you.
That I don't listen to. It would be almost impossible. Yeah.
But a drummer, I think, if you're a good drummer, you can probably hang. You might miss some of the stops. He didn't. I still don't know how the hell. But I mean, they're super cool people, and they're usually willing to help you out as long as they can.
Yeah.
And I don't really have a bad thing to say about any of the musicians around here. They've all been super cool to me, and I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely have to say, even just doing the podcast, I don't think I've ever had I've had a few people that I call them detractors or whatever. Just people that are
Sure.
listen for a while just to crap on you or whatever. And there was a handful of that in other towns, but none of it from Fort Dodge. It's not that it's Fort Dodge is the greatest because we're so nice to everyone. It's not always the case if you all know Fort Dodge. But it's it might also be maybe everyone's scared because of proximity because I'm kind of close to it or whatever. This is kind of my scene. But at the same time, it's just kind of weird. I did a lot of this stuff, and I'm not trying to pick anyone out, but in Des Moines, and there was a few podcasts where it's literally people were just I don't like the person you did a podcast with, and then they gave me 1-star reviews and stuff, just based on the fact they didn't like the person I talked to.
Really? That seems like
it's just the weirdest thing in the world.
So you got to check with them if I can be back on this week then.
Dude, but that's the other thing. It was pre-COVID though, because like we've talked about this a little bit. How I feel like the scenes have changed a little bit, and now it's on now. Like if you got a band, it's on, and not only that, but every town wants to have their show. Every bar wants to have their big event, their anniversary in the summer, their bike ride thingy or whatever. They want to have it booked, so they're looking for Riddled With Class. They're looking for Brutal Republic, Clint Riedels, Jesse Wilson music, on down the line. And if you guys are booked, they got to pick the next one, So I feel like a lot of people are kind of coming out of the woodworks and realizing.
And then the cool thing about like being the guy who does booking for stuff like that is like a lot of times people will ask me, well, do you know someone? And I pretty much send them to those three people you just said, or, it depends on what you're looking for, and then
I love that
because two of the guys that I play with, Greg and Jake, they play with Neil Anders too, and the guy's name's Justin. And I feel bad I don't remember his last name. They're awesome, Just look them up, and I can tell you if they're available or not, probably, but that's the cool thing is like when like you can't do it, and there's weeks this summer where just like we're not gonna do it that week because you can be as busy as you want really, and and we all got kids and stuff and wives and people that deserve some of our time, like I mean none of us would be doing this unless we loved it, and the little bits of money you get, it's nice. If you save it and you do stuff with it, you can really do something with it. Like, it's just, the money's probably like the fourth or fifth thing down the list, really. You do it for fun. And I mean, some of those guys, they're doing it to support themselves now, too. Yep. But they wouldn't be doing it to support themselves unless they were having fun, because it takes a long time before you think for a second that I'll just play music and this is how I'll pay all my bills. Like
I would love to meet the self-employed musicians. It's just like, I freaking hate playing guitar for people.
Like, son of a bitch, I gotta go out and drag this thing out of a case, plug it into an amp. Shit.
Play me some CCR. God damn it, I hate Fogerty.
I could see that, I guess.
But yeah, that is it's a good point, but it's also a hilarious point to think about.
Well, and even my other job, like, so selling cars, like I've been around selling cars for like 7 years now. Mm-hmm. In sales, I really feel like you either want to do it or you can't do it. And there's money in it, but it's one of those jobs that you have to like, because if you don't like it, you're not going to be any good at it, for starters. And I feel the same way about music. Like, if you hate it and you just exude the hate for it. I had a show, and I don't remember, it's been a long time ago, where I just was not having a good time, and I think I projected that shit right onto the audience, like, and so, like, that stuff becomes, and I decided that I wasn't going to be mopey and anything like that anymore, because it's a long thing to get through if you are not having a good time. Yeah. Like, let's play for 4 hours and just be miserable. And it's been years ago, but yeah, it's just like I said, you couldn't do this for a living unless you wanted to do this for a living and you enjoyed it. Also, there's not a shitload of money in it. So,
and I'll have to say this. There are some people that are able to live modestly off of playing music.
Exactly.
They're not driving Bentleys, and I'm not trying to point anyone out or saying anything. They live comfortably. Their lives are enjoyable.
Yep.
But at the same rate, like you said, it's like, I remember somebody telling me way back in the day, I was like, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to play music for the rest of my life. And they said, it's going to be a rough life. Yeah. And I was just like, what do you mean? And, they were speaking from experience. It was just like, that's what I've done my entire life since I was like a teenager. And it's not always an easy buck.
For every, one Corey Taylor who gets to go out and do it for a living every day, and then makes, drives Bentleys and shit like that. There are 17 million guys like loading their shit in an 86 Corolla. Like,
there was a meme floating around today. Actually, I almost wish I could find it so I could read it. But it was somebody famous or whatever had posted about how they like I've played in like these places and I've played in those places.
I read,
and
I read that. That was,
and it pretty much was just like, if you're making any money doing this,
yep.
You've won.
Yep.
You're doing the thing is what I think what they said.
Yeah.
Which
he said he played at the Forum, and then 2 nights later he was in a dive bar somewhere.
10 people, and most
Yep.
of them are the other bands. Like,
Yep.
hey, been there,
Oh, we've played to Libby before,
Yep.
Libby'd clap and Levi tell her to shut up, like, but
I mean, I love those kind of shows though. Like you need to lose in order to feel like winning is important, you know. And I think that was something that like maybe like Duke's coach or Kentucky's coach or something said when they lost the Final Four championship game or something. They're like, you need to lose so that way when you win, it feels you need to fall down. So when you finally get to the top of the mountain again, it's good. You know? You can't just hang out up there all the time. I don't know where I'm going with that, but still, like, it comes back to like, if you're making any money at this, whether you're giving guitar lessons or just, once a month playing a show for $50 at a small coffee bar to entertain nobody, like, whammo, you're still getting paid to do it.
You took a hobby and you brought some sort of income in with it, and like, that's awesome. There's somewhere there's a dude, working in a factory and every minute feels like an hour. And he hates it,
God, yeah.
and he wishes he could go play, 2 hours for $50, like somewhere and playing music, and he probably could. He just got to take the jump, but like, I don't know, that's not what I mean. It's just, you got to respect it and realize what you're doing is awesome. It's super cool. It's fun.
I think that's actually like legitimately the concept for, okay, this is going to be weird. Fantasia 2000 has like a cartoon that's based on Rhapsody in Blue by Gershwin. And if any of that's incorrect, light me up in the comments. I'm fairly certain I've got all this nailed down pretty tight. It's Rhapsody in Blue. But anyways, that's the whole gist is it's like this steel worker and stuff is this guy that like pretty much just like wants to go play music. And then there's a musician who's getting paid pennies. And by the end of the cartoon, they flip-flop spots.
Yeah.
And the guy, they're both happy where they're at because they did what they wanted to do. That's the kind of the point where, and it's just, not that we're getting paid pennies, but.
Well, yeah. And I'm not even knocking on the dude working in the factory because if he enjoys his job, awesome. I'm just saying.
If he wants to have a retirement package at 65 that can support his family, fine. Yeah, whatever. I guess.
Good benefits.
If he wants to pay off his mortgage, whatever.
Yeah. But like, to get anything out of it, like, is awesome. Like, I hope to recoup most of the equipment I buy. Like, that's kind of my idea.
That's pretty much what I think, too. I was like, it'd be cool to break even, when it's all said and done.
And then like, we get a good paying show, and I'm like, man, I should get us some new lights, and, like, I saw a meme once that said, teach your children to love instruments because they'll never have enough money for drugs then.
It's the truth.
and those have gone up with everything, the inflation and all that.
We're talking
stuff.
instruments?
Oh yeah, wow.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought you were talking drugs.
No, I wouldn't know anymore, but like that's hilarious. No, that's awesome. I think you should. But no, like instruments have gone up,
like used instruments like 50 to 100% in price.
Oh yeah, and then even if are you familiar with the brand Sire at all? So Sire makes these Marcus Miller basses, and they're supposedly like the $500 P bass model comes with like a flame roasted maple neck, and it's finished on the fretboard side, but not on the back side. So you're like, okay, that's fantastic. They listen to people, like because. If you've ever played with a finished neck on a bass, like your hands get stuck.
Sticky. Yeah.
Yep. And so like they're like, oh, look at this incredible instrument you can get for $500, but you can't freaking get it. They're not out there, And then meanwhile, Squier, which is like the Fender lower models, those things went up. I don't know, $150, $100 each, and
yeah, like your normal cheap, jazz bass, whatever.
Yep.
It's like $450 now for a cheap bass bass.
Yep.
New. Like, okay.
And if you wanted like even the Player series, which is kind of the entry level like Fender stuff, they were $749 or $699, I think, 2 years ago, and they're $850 now.
Jeepers. That's insane.
But I mean, I don't know why we got on that, but like, yeah.
Well, I made the joke to Brad Hofing earlier today. Brad Hofing, who is a myth and may or may not exist if you listen to this podcast.
I've never touched him, so I don't know if it's just a hologram.
He's a hologram. But I was talking to him about this classic 30 I'm having some issues with, and I took it all apart, and there was a fuse that was loose in it, so I think that was the issue.
Yeah.
But I was like, if this thing needs retubed, it'd be cheaper to just go buy another used classic 30. Than it would be, than to get new tubes.
Isn't that weird? Like,
yeah, I could just throw this out in the street like it's a used paper plate and just like go get another one.
It's somebody would be like, no, I'll take it and retube it all.
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean, that'd be the only way you could be affordable is if somebody gave it to you for free.
Yeah,
they're so expensive.
Things are and stuff like that. And then you hope you can get all the stuff you need. I mean,
yeah.
My industry, like cars.
You guys are in a weird spot there too, especially with. I mean, you're just lucky you're not manufacturing them and dealing with that,
I wish the manufacturers would reach out to the customers who ordered stuff instead of just being like, "Hey, go to see your dealer," and I'll be like, "I don't know anything."
Then you gotta call them up and be the middleman and take the flack. Neat.
Oh, that happened the other day. I got cussed out, and I'm like, "Trust me, man. Nobody wants your truck here more than I do."
Oh, that's true.
Like,
true.
You're very excited about your new truck. That's how I feed my kid. But no.
It makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, that's definitely like a sector of the economy that's gotten just blasted. It's another one, though, that's like used cars are like almost twice as much as they were like 4 or 5 years ago.
Some of them, yeah. Especially if you have like a year or two old one. Yeah, I mean, the older stuff is, it's up, but no, it's the world's different. People, and I mean, it makes you wonder: are people putting more value in stuff that we didn't value as much before, or are people just going like this?
Money. Yep. Is it just a cash grab, or?
And I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, like obviously, lower supply with steady or increased demand obviously is going to raise prices because, like, if I have 4 bass guitars for sale and there's 6 people that want them, I'm not going to sell them for the lowest I can get them for.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it's just basic.
Also, now I only have 4 bass guitars to sell versus the 75 I would before, so I have to make the money on that 4, and so you just kind of wonder, and the cars thing, that there's just such a market to that, but like you wonder, how much of it is just people realize it's inflation. That's really what it is, and you don't really know where it comes from, but you do, but
yeah.
Boy, I just talked in a circle there big time.
Yeah. So we basically don't know what's causing all the issues in the world, but we do know something's causing it.
Yeah, we're not going to solve them all tonight, but
I don't think so.
I don't know, it's different, with everything. Like you go to order something, like it makes you value your equipment. You have more right now because if you, like, let's say you needed a part for that amp and, you might not be able to get it, and so.
True.
I don't know. It's made me kind of appreciate what I have a little more, and stuff. But
that is true.
Maybe watch it a little closer because one of the ladies I work with, she has one of the new Ford Broncos, and it's super cool. And she said somebody almost sideswiped her one day on the road. And the first thing she thought is, if he hits my car, how long is it going to be before I get the parts for this thing?
Oh,
and,
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, if you drop that and like blow a tube, you could think like, how long is it going to? I mean, tubes I think are out there. But,
yeah, they're there, but
yeah,
I can't remember. Like I was looking at like how much would it cost to retube like that amp or something. It was just like $700. It was like
Holy
to retube
cow.
an amp. Like,
Really?
Are you serious? It's like, oh yeah, I guess when they're all $150 a piece or whatever.
I made an attempt at retubing a buddy's amp years and years ago, and we had no idea what we were doing, and I'm pretty sure we messed that thing up forever.
Well, it just depends on what kind of an amp it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Because some of them have like a bias you can set where
Yep.
it tells you how hot you want the tubes, pretty much.
Yep, and I think and I didn't do it, and that's the one thing I'm proud of, is I think he cranked it up too much, and we popped a tube right away. But,
Yep, yeah, that's... Yeah,
and it ended up Chris Carr fixed it for him, so,
Yep. Yeah, red plating in a tube sounds good, but it will burn them out pretty quick. But
No.
yeah, I mean, so let's we got one topic left for this, and let's see if I can remember what it was because I was going to ask this. Oh yeah, here we go. Everything's going up in price. gear's up in price, gas is up in price. Recently, like right around the time COVID hit, a lot of bands were starting to be like, I think I'm going to start upping my price just a little bit. And some did, some didn't. But I'm starting to see some of the people who didn't kind of start to wiggle another $100 in there or something.
Yeah.
You know, justified, not justified? Are you thinking about maybe going that route? Or are we just going to try and wing it until gas prices go down again? Or are they ever going down? Or how's this going?
No, that's a really good question, actually. Yeah, I think, it depends. I mean, for me, if we have to travel a long distance, it financially it's got to be worth it, And then when you think about, you're trotting out, I don't even want to. My wife might listen to this, so I don't even want to venture a guess at how much money worth of gear I'm dragging to that place,
$20.
Yep.
All right, there we
go. I got it all from some guy, and $20 it fell off the back of a truck.
Yep.
But I think you got to factor that in. Is like if something bad happens,
That's
did
true.
you make enough to get started on the thing you got to replace, and then gas, but yeah, I think. But then, the people that are hiring you are dealing with the same outside expenses, And
That's true, because I mean, that's where the argument I've heard from some people were like, some people are like, man's got to eat, and the other people are just like, yeah, but you're just screwing over these like little bars and restaurants that are just trying to have. But at the same time, I've seen the fistfuls of cash that some of these places bring in with just piles of, inebriated, lovely individuals.
Yeah, but they're there, and I mean. I don't know. I know you don't drink, but if somebody was going to go out and drink for a night, the old school binge drinking, and let's say it's them and their spouse, that's a pretty expensive night.
That's an expensive night, And maybe the only reason they're going out is because there's a band there.
Yep. And if you ask my wife, that's 90% of what, if we go out anymore, which it's a little less than it had been. My daughter moved in with us and stuff. And so, we've been home more, and then I'm getting older, so I'm tired more. Yeah. But, we're going out. Yeah. I want to go see a band somewhere, and I'm probably going to spend some money on drinks, and I think it's got to make sense for both parties, really, and I mean.
Yeah, you can't be like going into whatever 4th Street Depot and be like, give me $1 million or whatever, some small bar or whatever, you can't just be like, hey, come on.
We're $6,500 a night,
Shakedown Street or whatever.
Yeah. But, at the same time, some of the bars I play at, I have a fantastic relationship with the owner, or at least the person that's hiring me. Mm-hmm. And, if we agree to a price and they know I'm cutting them a break, sometimes they've kicked out a little more, I had a great night, and I don't think it's against anything. We don't really do it, but lately I've been seeing people tip more, tip the musicians more and stuff. And we're not, I don't have anything against it. We just don't do it, really. Ask for it, really, But I've seen a lot of, guys will throw out their guitar case, and I think if somebody throws a 20 spot in a guitar case, you should probably go ahead and give them your worst rendition of Mustang Sally or whatever you're going to do, But, I don't, that's a hard question to answer, really. I mean, yes and no. Because, too, I think if you tee off on a guy and then you don't get hired back there, you probably know why.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. It definitely depends on the place. It depends what kind of a rapport you have with them. Because you don't want to just, outprice yourself for the entire market. And you don't want to, be like, yeah, we're, $2,000 for a show, and then just show up and not have lights and have a basic PA and just be like whatever, and then because that word's gonna travel quick too.
And that's one thing I kind of tried with our band. I'm pretty proud of what we're putting on the stage and what we're putting out in front of the stage. As far as sound, my wife has tried really hard to get the sound stuff, and then I've tried to learn too, and then the lights, and now she's making them dance along to the songs and whatnot. And I think we're putting on a show. I think it's more than just 4 guys playing songs for you.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, mission accomplished, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, is there anything we want to plug in here at the end? Otherwise, we're getting pretty close to the end of this podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, come check us out sometime this summer. I got some merch available. We got T-shirts. We've got stickers. You turned me on to the stickers.
Dude, I need one of each, please. Thank you.
And then I think I actually have buttons now too for guitar.
Buttons are coming back.
I'll hook you up with that too, and you can use them, guitar or whatever, strap stuff. But and we're putting on a fun show. We added some new music this year. And we'll be around.
Nice. Nice. All the social media is down below. Check them out. Thanks, Nick.
Yep. Thanks for having me, man.
Man, he ain't kidding. I'll tell you what, they have changed their show up over the years, and it's still the same old Riddled with Class, but it's new tunes, it's new lights, new sounds, new everything. I mean, it's slowly been morphing over the years, and like you said, it's not just you're going to see some bands play. It's a show. They've got it going pretty cool over there at the Riddled with Class. I'll tell you what, if it doesn't come down to the good sound that comes out, the lights they only keep getting better every single year. I think they upgrade something, whether it's overhaul the set list, which they do pretty much every year anyways. They add 15-20 songs a year, it seems like, and just kind of shuffle some new ones in there. But the lights, the sounds, the presentation of it all is so good. They got a new logo out. I love the logo. If you couldn't figure out what the logo looks like from listening to this podcast, go check them out on social media. The links are down below. And also go check them out on social media so you can make sure you can catch them somewhere this summer. Riddled with Class is playing a lot of shows. They got a lot coming up in towns across Iowa. They're playing, everything from town festivals to dive bars to big bars too. So, they're going everywhere, doing pretty much a little bit of everything. So check them out online. Like I said, all the links are down below. And let them know what you think. Go out and watch them live. Give them a high five. And don't buy any shirts. I'm just kidding. Buy a shirt. I got to make sure I get a shirt. I've missed out on too many cool shirts from local bands, and I do not want to miss out on one of these. So check out their shirts. Just make sure you leave me an extra large. All right. Appreciate everybody tuning into this episode. Appreciate Nick taking time out of his day. Nick had a really busy day, and he still made it to the podcast. So thank you very much, Nick. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. And I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen to this. So thank you guys very much. I really do appreciate it. Down below all the Riddled with Class links are links to all of the Audible Farm goodness. Go there. Check out the Audible Farm shop. We've got t-shirts and all sorts of goodies available at the Audible Farm shop. Otherwise, check us out on YouTube. There's video clips of the podcast as well as all sorts of other cool clips. And the audio versions of the podcast are also there. And while you're there, make sure you subscribe. It's always fun watching those subscribers go up on YouTube. Otherwise, the podcast is free pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think. 5 stars, thumbs up, thumbs down, 1 star, whatever you want. Just let me know what you think. Otherwise, the Patreon it's $1 a month for the Patreon. You get video versions of the podcast. I've been teasing ideas of other things, but as of now and as of for the last year plus, that's all that's on the Patreon. So thank you guys for subscribing to the Patreon. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you guys for listening. I'm going to check out. All right. Peace.